Good talk. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi.
Wonderful.
How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you.
You too.
Hey, it's Wes. Welcome to another episode of Verbally Described Memes, the podcast series where I investigate and critically analyze memes, their history, their function, and their position in society. Today we're shifting focus to the meme creators. And what role in society do meme accounts serve? This highlight of content creators is the first part of an indefinite series examining what goes into creating, running, and monetizing a meme account. I'm calling this Account Admin Confidential. But first, for the uninitiated, what is a meme account? In doing the research for this episode, I was shocked to find that there isn't really a good definition of a meme account, at least readily available online. So the best I can do is that a meme page or meme account is a specific blog, Instagram, Facebook, a collection of memes along a certain theme or idea that are either submitted by the community or by one poster. In the early days, meme accounts were like a personal content aggregator where you could pull in all the things that you found funny and share it to the people you wanted to make laugh. Now, meme pages reflect a much wider swath of our culture and our society, ranging from brand accounts to informational or protest accounts, all peddling memes. Today, I'm going to be talking to the account owner for the Tumblr Feminist Lisa Frank. This blog features the stereotypical image macro of white impact font at the top and bottom of an image. And in this case, every image is resplendent with neon, rainbows, unicorns, and well, why don't we let Lisa Frank herself take it over from here?
First and foremost, probably be rainbows, and then hearts, music notes, teddy bears, unicorns, stars, color, fantasy, jewels, glints, everything that makes a kid happy, smile.
Lisa Frank was and is an institution when it comes to the choice of school supplies and providing the color palette to define your fourth grade year. Throughout the 80s and 90s, you'd be hard-pressed to find a classroom that didn't have neon dolphins leaping out of a trapper-keeper adorned with glittery kitten stickers. And growing up in that cultural environment, Alex Richmond took that energy and spun it their own way. Their slogan for the blog is, quote, dismantling the patriarchy, one rainbow kitten at a time. And that message resonated well with 90s kids who have now found themselves to be adults.
Oh my God, we're all obsessed here. On a much brighter note, literally, 90s kids will remember the beloved.
On the show Shift by MSNBC, there's a segment called Crystal's Kudos. On May 13th, 2015, Crystal gave kudos to, quote, the web gods who have created Feminist Lisa Frank.
The feminist twist. This is one of my favorites. The sassy beach blonde with her cute little pup that says, I don't owe you my body, my time, or my attention.
Love it.
Or this one that debunks the old damsel in distress myth, and these colorful kitties who aren't taking any catcalls from anybody. Yes, sometimes the internet gives us really great gifts like this one, so good kudos to the web gods for this one.
The end. That's my name. Technically it's Alexandra, but I have never been Alexandra except for like at the doctor's office or my mom is particularly angry with me.
What is your background with memes?
Well, I grew up with the internet. It was basically my babysitter. Growing up was the computer. So pretty much all memes all the time. I had a Tumblr for a while that was called Feminist Lisa Frank, which was...
Oh, I love it.
Just, it's in the title. It was just Lisa Frank images with, like, feminist quotes attached to them. And I started making those. And then, like, the Tumblr got picked up by, like, Huffington Post and BuzzFeed and different things like that.
Also the Mary Sue, Paper Magazine, Pop Sugar, MTV, 17, Mashable, the AV Club, and so much more. And
so, like, it was the weirdest summer. Yeah, like, it was active for the most part, like, a few years ago, but, like, I still have the Tumblr, and I still get notifications of, like, followers. Like, I still have, like, 30,000 followers on Tumblr for this dumb account that started as just like silly images with feminist quotes on them, and then became like kind of a more educational resource. It was so strange because people would share things with me because they saw me post them on Facebook, and someone would be like, hi, someone I don't know in like England is doing a little like news broadcast on your Tumblr. Yeah, because it's also hi, sorry, there's a cat.
At this moment, Alex's two cats, Kahlo and Noodle, decided that they needed to be involved as well.
Oh, he's just keeps moving back. He's literally right there.
Oh, big boy.
Big boy, yeah.
Or boy.
Yes. Kahlo is a big boy, Noodle is a little girl.
Yes. Yes.
I correct people on their genders way more than I correct anybody on my own, which ridiculous.
Unfortunately for Alex, it wasn't just rainbow kittens, sunshine, and subverting societal preconceptions and constraints through co-opting stereotypical images of femininity.
It's really amazing to watch how, like, foaming at the mouth, livid people get when you add feminism to something. Like, people would get so outraged, I'd be like, cool, let me remind you that this is a picture of rainbow kittens that just says, we'll smash the patriarchy, or something like that. So...
No fragility anywhere.
Oh, no. So strong. So confident. Yeah, it was super interesting. I cannot tell you how many, like, private messages I got from people that were very gruesome, or just, like, I don't know, threatening to my life, or, like, talking about everything terrible about me as a person. I'm trying not to go into too much detail for, but like really terrible things that people would say to me that I'm like, you are a total stranger. You don't know anything about me. I don't know anything about you, except for the fact that you made this account specifically to harass me because I'm looking at your account and you don't have any other posts. Like, you created this account, you don't have any icon. Like, you just felt that you needed to say this thing, but you didn't want to take any kind of responsibility or accountability for it. Which is one of the dangerous parts of the internet,
And do you keep up with Feminist Lisa Frank? Do you post much at all?
I should probably do more of it because it seems like a relevant time.
Right.
But it got a little overwhelming because it is one of those things of like so many eyes on you and so many opinions, and you can't ever actually do anything right to satisfy enough people.
Right.
So you do have to reach a point of doing it for yourself and be like, cool, I know that no matter what I do, people are not gonna believe me. Like, there were a couple posts I wrote about like street harassment or like catcalling, and I can't tell you the number of people who were like, oh, this is fake, you made this up. And I was like, honestly, I recorded this word for word what happened, but yeah, there are plenty of people who are gonna be like, oh yeah, you made this up, you're probably not even who you say you are, or things like that. That was one of my saddest things. Like, a post that got super popular was about like being catcalled on the train and how like no one helped me and my friend. And so we got off of the train after this guy harassed us, and I got into another car, and then somebody else harassed me.
Oh my god.
But like, so many of the like responses on Tumblr were people sharing their own stories of such similar things. And it was just like thousands of these responses that made me so sad.
Yeah.
And then people were still like, oh, you made all that up. That's not real. All 1,000 of you made up those situations. This isn't an issue.
I mean, because that reaffirms their worldview.
Yeah. So, yes. In answer, sometimes I do it. Often I don't, because I'm easily overwhelmed by things.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good a business card subtitle. Wesley Leatham, easily overwhelmed by things.
My business card subtitle is pun enthusiast, which is also
there
true.
You go. Do you remember like what the first memes you came across?
I guess it depends on what your actual definition of meme is. If it's just like most of the time I think of memes as like images or GIFs or like sometimes text related to them. But I feel like if you have a broader definition of like a cultural joke, even before the internet, we had things that people would reference of like, oh, this particular like event that happened that everybody knows about.
Yeah, no, totally. Kind of like as an aside, because I've been doing a lot of research and like studying prior art before jumping into this. Richard Dawkins is the one who came up with the term mimetic.
Yeah.
So he was trying to analyze cultural items in the same way that Darwinian evolution is applied to genes. So it was like taking cultural ideas and viewing them in kind of a Darwinian evolution kind of frame of reference.
Because,
So like,
memes definitely evolve. You're correct. Or he's correct.
right.
Whatever. So
yeah, I will take credit for that. But that's also memes, is just taking other people's content, putting a little spin on it, and saying it's yours.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's part like collective unconscious kind of stuff. Of sure, somebody else did this originally, but then you put your spin on it, you add to it, and then that becomes more. It's like building blocks of stuff. Because like,
Right.
I feel like anything in the past can be viewed through a modern lens. Like anytime people get mad at people for taking selfies, I want to be like, cool. Every like old painter who did a self-portrait was doing a selfie. If you think that they wouldn't have taken a million selfies if they'd had access to cameras, you are incorrect. They did not, so they painted them. Yeah, no. But yeah, so memes. Yeah, I feel like I use them all the time. I have always used them. Because I had a little bit of trouble with this with the Feminist Lisa Frank, because when it got really popular, Lisa Frank sent me a precursor to a cease and desist. Like, they contacted Tumblr that I was using their like copyrighted content, and Tumblr gave me the option of like, cool, you have 3 days to refute this, or we take all of your stuff down. I'm very distracted by this cat moving my shit.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, so the Lisa Frank Corporation. Thanks, Carl. Because Lisa Frank is a person who is an artist, who it's also the name of her brand and corporation, which there was a very good article done by, I forget what company, that's called Inside the Rainbow Gulag.
This is a 2013 article by Tracie, Egan, Morrissey for Jezebel. I have it linked in the show notes if you want to read more.
That talks about the Lisa Frank Corporation, which, spoilers, is terrible. She treated her employees very badly. She is not a feminist. But, yeah, her representative, like, reached out to me. And I had that issue of, like, oh, am I doing something really terrible? And so I sent them an email that was like, I have full respect, you know. I just, like, trying to add feminism to this thing. And I got an email back that literally said, we at Lisa Frank are not angry so much as disappointed in you for your actions.
What?
That I was insulting her in such a way. I was like, cool. Saying that we all deserve equal rights, regardless of gender and race, is insulting to you? And so, like, a bunch of people reached out to me because I posted it, was like, well, guess I gotta stop. And they're like, nope, copyright laws don't apply to, like, parody.
Yeah, they're fair use.
Yeah, fair use. Because I was never claiming to have made that art. Like, I never at some point was like, this is my art. I just added text to it. And
it definitely helps that you weren't charging money for it,
right.
too.
I was charging no money. It was clearly a parody of the thing. And also, there were a couple other parody Lisa Frank accounts at that time that they didn't reach out to. Because there was one that started after me, like after mine got famous, called Nihil Lisa Frank. That was like just nihilism.
Yeah.
They never reached out to them.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not trying to shake up the whole social construct.
Yeah, no, there were basically a couple other ones that were varying degrees of like problematic that never got any kind of issue. But also like, I don't think got as famous as mine did. But yeah.
As far as I can find, there's only 2 on-camera or audio interviews with Lisa Frank.
I'm Lisa Frank, and for everyone who wants to know if I do exist, I do exist. I'm a real person.
Both take place in her expansive and modern Tucson, Arizona office and distribution center. The first was released in 2013 during the run-up to a partnership with Urban Outfitters to sell t-shirt designs and some vintage pieces. And as an aside, the Urban Outfitters partnership ended quickly. Most likely, as it's known, they don't maintain business with people who aren't friendly. Later that year, the Jezebel article came out. I encourage you to read this on your own as it is just fascinating, but here are the highlights. Lisa Frank comes from a happy and extremely wealthy upbringing. She was raised in Bloomfield Hills, a city just north of Detroit that is routinely ranked in the top 5 wealthiest cities in America, with a population under 10,000.
To keep me quiet, they brought the coloring books and the crayons, and I used to fill up the books, then they'd have to buy me another one.
She attended the same elite prep school as Mitt and Ann Romney, and this is where she began painting. Details from there really start to trend downward.
I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm a lunatic.
Frank's entrepreneurial instinct first kicked in during her time at the University of Arizona, where she would purchase handmade pottery and jewelry from local Native American communities and sell them at markup price back home in Michigan. By 25, she had developed this concept and this resale of others' work into the company that will be known later as Lisa Frank.
First and foremost, probably be rainbows, and then hearts, music notes, teddy bears, unicorns, stars, color, fantasy, jewels, glints, everything that makes a kid happy, smile.
Former employees who requested to have their names altered in the Jezebel article for fear of retribution told them all of their dirty secrets. Lisa Frank was obsessed with her own personal beauty and would constantly be talking about her physique with her employees. Her now ex-husband, Lisa Frank Incorporated CEO James Green, was also rumored to be an unfaithful monster with a cocaine problem, which is backed up by court documents from their divorce.
If I was a drug addict, how could I have possibly have done all this?
No one was surprised when the company started to lose money, as Green and Frank didn't have any business acumen and were floating on their respective family money. The culture working at Lisa Frank is toxic to say the least.
I mean, we have to stop me and say, okay, it's enough.
At the office, coworkers weren't allowed to talk to each other, and their phone calls were illegally recorded. One time, after discovering that someone left the office 10 minutes early, Green went on a rampage and instructed the warehouse manager to put chains and padlocks on all the doors so that, quote, the staff can't escape.
The building's more than 300,000 square feet. And at one time, like, every bay was filled up with trucks that were shipping product out of here.
This is literally just the tip of the iceberg. It's so fascinating. Go read the article.
Lisa Frank makes the coolest stickers. I should know because I have most of them.
We were involved in the big sticker craze in the 80s. Then it went to school supplies because a sticker is 1 inch to 3 inches. So it was more fun to get the art bigger.
And there's all these folders and pens and backpacks and stationery and stickers. Of course, stickers. It's impossible to keep up with, but it's fun to try. Lisa Frank, you gotta have it.
I have to imagine, with all of the legal trouble and bad press coming out around her divorce and the Jezebel article, Lisa Frank wanted to do some damage control. And that's where I think the second interview comes into play.
I'm Lisa Frank, and this madness that you see and all this excitement started with me.
This was produced by Great Big Story, the production company famous for creating puff pieces. In both interviews, she appears in silhouette. In the description of the Urban Outfitters short, it's noted that this is because she values her privacy.
Well, the secrecy has worked for so long. Like, why come out of the closet? I mean, I don't want to disappoint anybody. What if I'm not who they want me to be?
In fact, cited in the Jezebel article is a BuzzFeed post titled, quote, "The rare photo of the real Lisa Frank." And on it are 2 broken image links. So at some point, they must have requested to be taken down. From the heyday in the 90s of making over $60 million a year in profits, and with a corporate staff of over 250 in 2013 at the time of the publishing of the Jezebel article, they're down to just 6 employees.
In the beginning, we probably had 30 artists at one time. Unfortunately, now we don't need as many people in the art department because things are much easier on the computer.
As of 2018, the Lisa Frank Corporation licenses all of its content and name out to smaller companies, like the makeup brand Glamor Dolls, who produce nail polish bottles that mimic a unicorn's rainbow tail. And the nostalgic cash grab doesn't end there. Products out today include even a Trapper Keeper-shaped eyeshadow palette. But to Glamor Dolls owner Jessica Romano's credit, she was a middle schooler obsessed with Lisa Frank. In a 2017 interview with the blog fastcompany.com, she says, quote,
"I was a diehard fan. It made you stand out and gave you the opportunity to show your individuality as a little girl. I was able to express myself with her pink pencils and cheetah folders."
The aesthetic and imagery of Lisa Frank have permeated our collective cultural memory and has become a meme in and of itself. The backers of the Kickstarter led by Romano for her company was largely funded by people who never got to sink into the cutesy indulgence of Lisa Frank merchandise. And luckily for Romano, this fit within Lisa Frank's worldview.
When I was little, I was totally a girly girl, and I was a huge colorer. Huge.
Unfortunately for Glamor Dolls backers, they never will be able to indulge in that cutesiness, as it seems there was some trouble between Glamor Dolls and the Lisa Frank Corporation, ultimately ending up with backers left without their money and without their Dayglow makeup supplies. To this day, angry fans are still leaving reaction gifs on the Glamor Dolls Facebook page, which is one of the only things left of the corporation and only ways to contact them. YouTubers like Julia Zunga have posted entire video essays on their outrage that they scammed fans out of thousands of dollars.
So yeah, anyways, long story short, I never got my refund. Yeah, this is a huge scam. As for Lisa Frank, did it tarnish their reputation for me? Yes, which is what makes me the most sad, because again, it was a really deep-rooted childhood love I had, and they were involved in a big scam. Lisa Frank or Kickstarter ever watches this video, you guys seriously sucked with this.
For Alex, it was different. By co-opting the imagery that so many of us grew up with, Alex has drawn from the collective cultural experience to create content that resonates and uplifts.
Gods for this one. Crystal, I know that you're already a Lisa Frank fan.
This
How
is
much
true.
more are you a Lisa Frank fan right now?
This takes it to a new level for me, really. I'm going to pull out my old eraser collections, which, yes, world, I did have an eraser collection.
For many, the message of third and fourth wave feminism, of challenging the ingrained societal concepts of womanhood, gender, beauty, and the expectations that carries, dovetails neatly with the institution of Lisa Frank, but maybe does not reflect the politics of the owner, Lisa Frank.
Unfortunately, I'm still a kid. I love all this fun stuff.
Because like I said, that was the nice thing about Feminist Lisa Frank, is like it got famous, but I was still anonymous for the most part. So like I could pick and choose when I wanted to claim it.
I guess I should ask, why did you originally create Feminist Lisa Frank?
Someone made a joke about it in a Facebook group that I was in. So then I just like made a couple images to like add on to the joke. And people really responded to it. And I was like, I'll make a Tumblr. I'm not doing anything right now. This is a silly creative outlet. And then like it got crazy popular because the thing that makes some people angry also resonates with other people. Because I feel like it taps into the nostalgia factor of like growing up in the 90s, where if you were raised as a girl in the 90s, you probably had a Lisa Frank binder at some point, or stickers or a thing like that. And the juxtaposition of this like cute, super feminine, like traditionally girly thing combined with like, I don't know, Gloria Steinem, or just like facts about the pay gap or things like that. It was interesting, and like I'll still run across people sometimes where I'll like mention this is the thing in my past, and someone will be like, "I'm sorry, you're Feminist Lisa Frank? I love Feminist Lisa Frank."
That's amazing.
The absolute coolest thing about it, because yeah, it started out as just images, and then I would like snarkily respond to people who were shitty and sexist and racist and terrible.
Right.
And I got a lot of comments from people that were like, oh, you like very calmly and rationally cut people down without like insulting them as a person, just insulting the things that they're saying or approving of. And a lot of people would like send me messages that were just like, this is really inspiring, or like, this makes me want to speak up, or things like that. So that felt good.
That's awesome.
But here, more bragging. There was a talk when Gloria Steinem like published her last book. There was a little book event interview thing between her and Roxane Gay that happened in Chicago.
Oh, love both of them.
Yeah. Yes, they're great. So I went, and they had like a little signing afterwards. And so when I got up to Roxane Gay, I was like, I'm sorry, this is like very lame and weird, but I printed out this meme that I made. It's from a Tumblr called Feminist Lisa Frank. And she was like, oh, you're Feminist Lisa Frank? She's like, oh, I love your work. My friends are going to be so jealous I met you. And then my brain short-circuited because Roxane Gay said her friends would be jealous that she met me.
How did that feel to be like seen by your heroes?
Good. I think I terrified her because I like just made, I think my whole face just kind of like imploded on itself because I was like, no, that's my line. I say the thing. I do that. And so like she signed her little Lisa Frank meme I made, and that was very cool.
Audio for this story was taken from interviews in 2012 and 2015 in partnership with Urban Outfitters and Great Big Story, respectively. Full credits and links are in the show notes. I want to earnestly and sincerely thank Alex for taking their time to talk with me.
My business card subtitle is Pun Enthusiast.
As well as everybody who also took the time to listen.
People can find me on the internet in most places like Twitter and Instagram at Alexikakon, Alexikakon. And do you want to hear me on podcasts or things like that? It's gonna have more info at those places. I'm really bad at promoting my own work.
I know, I am too. Why am I doing
No, people
this?
are always like, do you want to promote something? I'm like, probably, I don't know.
I'm planning on releasing an episode every 2 weeks. This story was written and recorded by me and produced by Sound Service, which is also me. To make sure you catch the next episode, subscribe, and if you can, leave a rating and review so a new podcast kicks off on the right foot. Thank you.
I'm a lunatic. I mean, we have to stop